Shalom, Yasharallah. As always, we'll give all praise and glory to the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For everything, he's worthy to be praised. For everything, all glory to his holy name. By Shama Mashiach h.o.d.c. As always, we'll start off with Colossians 3:17. Whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Shama Mashiach h.o.d.c. Giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Shama Mashiach h.o.d.c. in the name of the anointed Savior. So, I was doing a series on the Chariots, and we're going to continue on this because it's very important that we see our redemption, our salvation, Yasharallah, Israelites, that's promised to us, that we're getting closer and closer to, that we can be ready to roll if it's the Most High will. If we endure until the end. Matter of fact, let me get that. This is very important. And as I keep saying, Spirit brought to me, Most High not coming for no novices now. My Sheikh gave the analogy of the kingdom of heaven. Some gonna be working 12 hours, but somebody gonna come in the last hour, they're gonna be doing the works. But look at Matthew 24. and 13. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. You see? These chariots come, they're coming to save he that shall endure until the end. You got to endure to the end. The same shall be saved. See? So, in looking at this, enduring to the end, to be saved, because people say they saved in the church. Right? But what is to be saved? Because saved, to be, comes from salvation. Powers and authority. So, go to Luke, the first chapter, the 68th verse. This is being saved. Listen. Blessed be the Most High power of Israel. Not of no one else, but of Israel, it says, in the New Testament. For he hath visited and redeemed his people, the Israelites, and have raised up an horn, which is the power of salvation. See? Power and authority for us. The power of Israel. The Israelites. In the house of his servant David, who was a Mashiach h.o.d.c. David was of the tribe of Judah. Mashiach h.o.d.c. tells you in Hebrews 7:14, for it is evident that our power, Mashiach h.o.d.c., sprang out of Judah, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we, the Israelites, should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. That's being saved. As it says, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. What does it say in verse 69? Since y'all don't want to say being saved is salvation, and have raised up an horn, a power of salvation for us, the Israelites, in the house of his servant David, of the tribe of Judah. Salvation for us, the Israelites. Power, roots, and authority for us, the Israelites. So when you look at what it's saying here, it's undeniable. The fact is, look at Acts, the first chapter, in the 9th verse. This is after Mashiach h.o.d.c. died, rose the third day, walked the earth for 40 days. 40 days, they like, hey man. This is what they asked him. Let me show you. Acts 1 and 6. They asked him the question. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him. They asked Mashiach Yahushua, saying, Mashiach Yahushua, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? So we just read about salvation, about being saved from our enemies, from the hand of all that hate us. What kingdom are they in? The Roman kingdom. The Romans are the superpower of the earth. So they asking him, is he going to do what he's going to do? What we're waiting for. Restore the kingdom to Israel. Salvation, power, and authority to Israel. That's why we're going to these chariots. We knew about this. That's why we sung the song, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, coming for to carry me home. That's restoring the kingdom to Israel. A band of angels, which are the chariots. Who are the chariots? Which are the chariots? Coming for to carry me home. Back to the land of Israel. You see? So, they asked him, Acts 1 and 6. When they therefore would come together, they asked of him, saying, Mashiach Yahushua, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? Man, you've been here 40 days, man. You got to be here to restore the kingdom. Their minds is not thinking about the law of Moses. They ain't thinking about Deuteronomy 28 chapter at all. They just like, hey, like we want salvation. Crying to the Most High to be redeemed from this wicked, evil world. So now, look at verse 9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up. And the cloud received him out of their sight. And we know that cloud, well, you might not know, because some of you might be tuning in for the first time. This cloud, we're going to go to Psalms 104 and 3, just in case some of you are just tuning in. Psalms 104 and 3. And it says, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds, just like he went up in the cloud, he made the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. In verse 4, who maketh his angel spirits, his ministers of flaming fire. And that flaming fire is the word of the Most High. Jeremiah 23 and 29. So, as they beheld, he was taken up in a cloud, right? So, that's why I say the Bible answers itself. It's just if you don't know what happened once he went up in the cloud. What happened next? Daniel seen it. Look at Daniel 7 and 13. So we go up in the clouds. Daniel says this in Daniel 7:13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man, Mashiach Yahushua, came with the clouds of heaven. So he came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, came to the Most High, and they brought him near before him. They brought the Mashiach Yahushua near before the Most High. And there was given him dominion and glory. This fits right along with what we just read in Luke 1 and 69. Con? And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, salvation, powers, and authority, right here. That all people, nations, and languages should serve him. This is what the Most High has given him, Mashiach Yahushua. His dominion is an everlasting dominion. It's going to last forever and ever and ever. Which shall not pass away. Nobody, ever, and I'll repeat that, ever, going to take a Mashiach Yahushua's dominion from him. Which shall not pass away, in his kingdom, that which shall not be destroyed. See? Because all the other kingdoms were destroyed. But Mashiach Yahushua's kingdom is not going to be destroyed. So look at, so we're in Daniel 7. Go to Daniel 7 and let's jump up to verse 8. It says, I considered the horns, the powers, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. It said, I beheld till the thrones were cast down. All the powers and authority were cast down. You see? And the Ancient of Days did sit. The Most High. Our power. Power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. So the Most High, this is telephany. Only way that you can actually be able to see this, that's why you're looking at, go to Job 33 and 14, so you'll see that these are visions. And the Most High allow himself to be identified as such. Job 33 and 14, it says, for the Most High speaketh once, yet twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man. So the Most High bring forth dreams and visions to be able to instruct those. But it's not necessarily every time you have a dream or a vision, not necessarily the Most High is giving you something to say, oh, this from the Most High, and I'm a prophet now, I'm a prophetess. Don't believe the hype, because it's written concerning that. You see it there, but then there's places where the Most High has it so that we that's why you gotta know these scriptures. But that's what Daniel was given, a vision, because he was a man that the Most High loved, so he didn't have to come back to this wicked place. He didn't have to come back here. He didn't have to deal with this. Here we are, we here dealing with it. But he didn't have to come. He said he's going to rest in his lot. So some didn't have to come back and deal with this wicked world. Some of us have to. We got to have somebody that's got to bring forth this truth. And if everybody leave here and go somewhere, some other country or wherever, who's going to be here for the sheep? People want you to leave wherever you at and go somewhere else. Who's going to be there for the sheep? Go to Ecclesiasticus, the 34th chapter, and understand this too, concerning dreams. People say they dream and they dealing with the Most High and every dream. No, listen at this. The hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false, and dreams lift up fools. You hear that? Dreams lift up fools. Whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catches at a shadow and follow after the wind. The vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeness of a face to a face. Of an unclean thing, what can be cleansed? And from the thing which is false, what truth can come? Divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain. Divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain. And the heart fancieth as a woman's heart in travail. The woman having in contractions, having a baby. If they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them. For dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them. So that's why I say it's about being very, very spiritual in knowing whether or not the Most High is instructing you. Or it could be vain. You could be vain. That's what I tell you about dreams. So let's go back to Daniel's, the 7th chapter, the 9th verse. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. The Most High did sit. Like I told you, it's telephony. Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So I have to, I'm saying that, but I gotta understand, I gotta define that through the scriptures, because the Most High he's Ancient of Days, point blank. This is talking about the Most High. Hope y'all can understand this, and understand this. So he's Ancient of Days, first and foremost. Let's prove that. Job 36:26. Job 36:26. Behold, the Most High is great, and we know him not. Hear that? The Most High is great, and we know him not. Neither can the number of his years be searched out. So he's the Ancient of Days, point blank. So let's look at first St. John 1:18. No man has seen the Most High at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he have declared him, right? So go to St. John 4:24. Most High is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth, right? So go to Colossians, the 1st chapter. Colossians, the 1st chapter. And let's look at verse 14. In whom we have redemption through his blood, through a h.o.d.c blood, even the forgiveness of sins, right? When you read Acts 5:31, it says repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sins. Who is the image of the invisible power, the firstborn of every creature. You see, the Most High is invisible. The Spirit is invisible. Invisible means you cannot see him. No man has ever seen the Most High. Flesh and blood can't go before the Most High. So Daniel was not actually seeing the Most High. He's, like I said, telephony gives you an appearance of something that we can relate to. Understand this. So going back to Daniel 7:9, I beheld till the thrones were cast down. I mean, all power, rulership, and authority gonna be cast down on this earth. And the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, all righteous, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. Pure wool he has, like pure nappy hair. Pure wool. Not straight, but pure wool. Nappy hair. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. That's his chariot. Like burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him, fire in the front of him. Thousands ministered unto him. Thousands of angels ministered unto him. And 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. The books were open. And those books, we tell you about them books. Revelation 20 and 12. You should know this by now. I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were open. Well, we just read about it. That's that judgment. The books were open, which is and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works, according to what you've done, or what we've done in these mortal bodies. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. So death and hell got people hell somewhere too. They got to deliver up the people that's in them. And they will judge every man according to his works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life, that's what this is all about. That we can do whatever needs to be done to be our names be written in the book of life. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. That's what it's all about. You better understand. It's all about our names being written in the book of life. No more or no less. Now, let's go to Ezekiel, first chapter. Ezekiel, the first chapter. And we're going to look at verse 4. This whole chapter is great. So Ezekiel, the first chapter, the 4th verse. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind spinning around. We said a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud. So we know this cloud is a chariot, a vehicle of the Most High and the angels. Came out of the north, a great cloud, a great chariot of the Most High, flying saucers, whirlwind flying around, and it's spinning, and a fire enfolding itself. Fire enfolding itself. And a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance. So 4 living creatures coming out of this chariot, this flying saucer, this i.u.c, identified flying object. Because we read about it. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. They had the likeness of a man. And every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. 4 faces and 4 wings. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot. Like you would say, like like a mitten with a toe, and you have your big toe in one, and then you have the other 4 toes in that mitten, like something like that. So you get the understanding. And they sparkle like the color of burnished brass. So they are very, very dark skinned, brown, like blue-black. Burnished brass, like my second side told you in Revelation 1:15. And his feet like unto fine brass if it burned in the furnace. Same with the angels. Like the color of burnished brass. And they had the hands of a man under their wings, on their 4 sides. And they 4 had their faces and their wings. Yeah, their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another, They turned not when they went. They didn't turn when they went. They went everyone straight forward. They went straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man, and the face of a lion, courage, on the right side. And they four had the face of an ox for strength on the left side. They four also had the face of an eagle for all seeing everything. Now, the eagle could be way up in the sky, looking down and see a little mouse move. Way up in the sky. That's for to see everything. That's where their faces. And their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings on every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward, whither the spirit was to go, or the angel was to go. They went, and they turned not when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire. Their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. So lightning is going forth from these living creatures, these angels. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. So you see that lightning? Those are angels. Whoop. As the flash of lightning. Whoop. See that bright, how lightning just light up everything? Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures, with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl. Beryl is brown, y'all. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl. Look it up. Beryl is brown. And they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. It's like a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them 4, right? Remember, it's like the eagle, right? Seeing everything. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. It's in the wheels. When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. And the lightness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was as the color of the terrible crystal stretched forth over their heads above. And under the firmament were their wings straight, the one toward the other. Every one had 2, which covered on this side, and every one had 2 which covered on that side, their bodies. You know, these angels have bodies. And when they went, I heard the noise of their wings, like the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, the voice of speech, as the noise of a host. When they stood, they let down their wings. When they stood still, they let down their wings. But you see what it's saying, because the angels always bring the voice of the Almighty. The voice of speech as the noise of a host, of an army. When they stood, they let down their wings. And there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads when they stood. It had let down their wings. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne. So the firmament that was above their heads, these angels' heads, was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above upon it. And I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about within it. From the appearance of his loins even upward, this is till Thaahwam, seeing the Most High on his throne, fire from his loins, from his waist upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward, fire from his loins downward. And it had brightness round about, brightness all around it, as the appearance of the bow. That's that rainbow that you see in the sky that reminds the Most High that he will not flood the earth anymore, but he's going to bring fire to purify this earth. As the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain, so is the appearance of the brightness round about. This is the appearance of the brightness round about. This is the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Most High. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake. See, I remember I was going down the 110 freeway, and it just reminds me of this. And a car came in front of me, and I turned and I started spinning around. When I turned, I was going toward a wall, and so I had to turn left to avoid running to that wall, and my car just started spinning around. And I counted those lanes since this happened. It was 8 lanes. And it stopped. I never forget this. And I was facing, because I thought it was, you know, during rush hour traffic, I'm gone, I'm finished. But I stopped in the carpool lane. And my car was facing traffic. So I hit myself, wondered was I still alive or what? Because it was like a big glaze. It was just nothing but like a fog over this is rush hour. No rush hour fog gonna be on no freeway. It was a fog across the freeway. That's all I could describe, a fog. But on the outside of that fog was a rainbow color. All these different colors of going around it, way, way up in the air. And I could see the cars behind this fog and this giant rainbow that was going around it. And I had to be the Most High, making sure that his angel was there to stop time, because no car was moving. And I'm facing, looking right at traffic, looking at the cars through. But it was like waving. It was alive because it was like wavering and moving in between. All praise the Most High. That's all I could say. That's all I was doing was praising him, praising him, praising him. Once I realized I wasn't dead, and I had started my car up, and I went from the 8th lane all the way around to go out into my exit, because I was going to a general's meeting. And I was just praising him like I praise him now. I'll praise the Most High. But that's what I sing. But it was like you drop oil in water. And how you have that rainbow kind of feeling. But it was like, it was alive. It was like a haze, but it was alive because it was moving. You could see it like wavering. It was like wavering, like. But it went way up, way past the trees. It went way up in the sky because I was looking like, wow. So it's your time, it's your time. Most High with you, ain't nobody, no weapon form against you can prosper. Believe this. That's what I look at when I see that as the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain. So is the appearance of the brightness round about. This was the appearance of the lightness of the glory of the Most High. When I saw it, I fell upon my face and I heard a voice of one that spake. Yep, that's real, man. You think about, the little that he show us that we can appreciate. If you never experienced anything outside of the norm, then you might not be able to relate. Look at Revelation, the 4th chapter. Start at verse 1. After this I looked, and behold, a door was open in heaven. This door is being opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, loud, this is my h.o.d.c. Come up hither. So are y'all afraid of brothers talking loud? You would have said, the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, come up hither, loud, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven. Now we just seen that throne in Ezekiel. And one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. See? So it's the same thing here. Hallelujah. Most High. So this is things that, you look at, and when you experience something like this and you see it, it's like, wow, man, this is phenomenal, man. It's like beyond imagination. But it's real because I experienced it. I just knew one of those lanes, I was just finished. But look at Revelation 10 and 1. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud. Coming down, rolling on the clouds. And a rainbow was upon his head. And his face was as it were the sun. And his feet as pillars of fire. See? And he had in his hand a little book open. And he set his right foot on the sea, upon the sea, and his left foot on the earth. And cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roared. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. So, I just wanted to show you how that angel had what? Upon his head. And a rainbow was upon his head. See? So, that was an angel. No doubt about it. All praise to the Most High about showing my h.o.d.c. Let's go to 2 Peter's 3rd chapter. In the 10th verse. 2 Peter 3 and 10. But the day of the Most High, the h.o.d.c, will come. It's coming. It's going to come as a thief in the night. Meaning you don't know when a thief coming. It's going to come like a thief in the night. Those that's not prepared and knowing what the prophecy says is supposed to happen. In the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. Power and authority on this earth going to pass away with a great noise. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth, also, and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and righteousness? This is what we're supposed to be doing. Looking forward, hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High, the h.o.d.c, wherein the heavens, this earth, which is heaven, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. You hear what it's saying? Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, he promised us this, Yasharala. Look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. That's what this is all about. Our names being written in the book of life, so we can dwell on this earth in righteousness. A lot of people, they thinking that, oh, they're going to heaven, it's going to be somewhere else. No, we're going to dwell right on this earth. We'll be right here. Look at Revelation 5 and 10. And have made us unto our power kings and priests, and we shall reign. Powers and authority. We have powers and authority on the earth. So from there, go to I want to quote what's in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary concerning Edom. It says Edom figures probably in prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. She is the only neighbor of the Israelites that is not promised any mercy from the Most High. And the scripture that it gives is Isaiah, where we're going now, Isaiah 34 and 5. The scholars know this. That's why they wrote it in the book. Isaiah 34 and 5. This is what they give. Isaiah 34 and 5. Well, let's look at Isaiah 34 and 4. Wow. Let's start at verse 1. It said, come near, ye nations, to hear and hearken. Pay attention. Hear and pay attention. And all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Most High is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. Upon all their armies. That's the army, the navy, the marines, the air force. He have utterly destroyed them. That's why when you read in the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra, will tell you about it. 2nd Ezra, 13th chapter, you hear it say, he have utterly destroyed this prophecy. Because it ain't happened yet. But it's prophecy to happen. Prophecy is the future. 2nd Ezra 13, you hear what it said. For the indignation of the Most High, verse 2 of Isaiah the 34th chapter, is upon all nations, and his fury is upon all their armies.